Noah, boasting about his background of graduated from one of the national universities in the US and working for a major company, constantly hurls abuse at me. Since ours was a shotgun marriage, it seems Noah feels like he did me a favor by marrying me. When I was about 9 months pregnant, we were invited as a couple to Noah's cousin's wedding. Upon the arrival of Noah's aunt and uncle at our table, we stood up to greet them, and our family and in-laws exchanged pleasantries. After they moved to the next table and we sat down, Noah suddenly drenched me with beer. I was so shocked, I couldn't even speak, and then Noah started yelling at me. Isn't it common sense for a wife to stand by patiently? Hey, Noah! Don't you even know that many rules? That's why you are a high school graduate? My mother-in-law hurriedly pulled out a lace handkerchief to wipe my face. Staring blankly at the droplets trickling down from my bangs, I felt an intense anger boiling up inside me. I couldn't take it anymore. Who cares if he's the father of my child? I'll tear apart his pointless pride in front of all the relatives. My name is Ava, a 42-year-old housewife. I met Noah through work, and he was as charming as a movie star. He was competent, considerate, and his gentle manner of speaking was pleasant to the ear. When he asked me to go out with, I immediately said yes. About a year later, after feeling unwell for several days, I took a pregnancy test, which came back positive. Thinking Noah would be pleased since we were dating with marriage in mind, I told him, but he just frowned and answered indifferently. Do you want to get married? Okay then. Of course, there was no proposal. I was disappointed deep down. Considering my condition, we skipped a wedding ceremony and just greeted our families before registering our marriage and starting our life together. Even though we were newlyweds, neither of us was young, and with my morning sickness, I didn't expect a lovey-dovey life. But still, the reality of our life together was far from what I had imagined. Noah, who had passed the entrance exam to elite universities on his first try and graduated straight away, was always full of confidence, perhaps because of his good looks. I want you to quit your job and focus on the house. My salary alone should be enough for us to live on. Before we married, he told me this, and I quit my job for a happy retirement. More accurately, I was suffering from severe morning sickness and doubted I could balance work and home life. After we married, his condescending behavior became more apparent. One day, after spending all my energy just making breakfast and hanging laundry due to severe nausea, I lay on the sofa all day. When Noah came home from work, he saw some dust on the floor and exploded in anger. Even though you've been relaxing at home all day, you haven't cleaned? I'm sorry, I've been too sick to get up. Can you buy something for dinner from the supermarket next door? Don't mess with me. You expect me to eat ready-made food? What do you do if I get sick from it? I'll wait 30 minutes, so make dinner. Noah said angrily, veins popping on his forehead, and I reluctantly complied, terrified. Noah criticized the meat and potato stew and miso soup I made while running back and forth between the toilet and the kitchen. My mom's is way better. Can't you, a woman, even make a decent meal? That's why you couldn't get married early. He said, though he couldn't cook properly and was marrying for the first time at his age. Getting complaints like this was an everyday occurrence. On another day, when I could hardly eat anything due to morning sickness, he threw another line at me. I go to work even when I'm hungover, but you get to lie down at home, it must be nice. Taking advantage of my silence, Noah's attitude grew increasingly arrogant. His arrogance knew no bounds. Of course, I am thankful for Noah working hard every night and sometimes going on business trips. However, I was utterly sick of him belittling me every chance he got. Once I managed to budget our meager living expenses and got better at handling household chores as my health improved, he started mocking my education. Noah loved watching quiz shows on TV and would joyfully criticize participants whenever they made a mistake. Since the show times often coincided with when I used the kitchen, I ended up watching with him, which made me feel depressed. He especially enjoyed shows where students from same college with him competed against smart students from other schools. Hey, did you get that question right? No. That's why high school grads are no good. You should start over from elementary school. He'd mock me, and whenever he got something right, he'd be smug about it. Anyone who gets this wrong has a brain smaller than a monkey's. You're really smart, Noah. It's true that he's smart. But his pleasure in looking down on me ruins his intelligence. If our child turns out to be as dumb as you, we're in trouble. He'd say such things with a smirk, and I lost the will to respond. Plus, Noah was quite stingy. He'd get mad if I bought snacks for just around $1, yet he'd go to bars under the guise of work socialization, or open a bottle of expensive wine because he was tired from work. Reluctantly, I dipped into my savings from before I was married to buy cake, or met up with friends or my sister at a cafe during weekdays when Noah was at work. You really snagged a weird one, sis. Complaining to my sister Scarlett during lunch, she looked at me with sympathetic eyes. Since she's always traveling around the country and abroad for work, she still hasn't met Noah. Unlike me, who's introverted, she has a forthright personality. When we were dating, he was so considerate and always had a lovely smile. So his true colors came out after you got married. Hearing this kind of story makes me lose the desire to marry, Scarlett said, shaking her head in dismay. Oh, remember I told you about the reunion I had back in our hometown? Yeah, at that long-established hotel. After it was over, while drinking with the usual crowd, a man approached us. Both Scarlett and her friends are stunning beauties. This guy, though handsome, was so arrogant. Scarlett continued, irritated, holding her mocha blend. If you were my girlfriend, you could live in luxury. I'd buy you a condo or whatever you want, he said. Wow, he must be a rich person. He had a wedding ring on his left hand but still said that. So I asked him, you have a wife, don't you? Guess what he said? What? Scarlett frowns. My wife would be lost without me. Whether I cheat or spend a fortune on other women, she has no right to complain, he said. It was so absurd, my friends and I just laughed it off and left the guy there. What era does he think we're living in? You're right. It sounded exactly like something Noah would say, but I didn't voice it out loud to avoid worrying Scarlett. Lately, being with Noah feels suffocating. It's as if, aside from his education, he wants to assert his dominance over me by making such derogatory comments, even laughing while he does it. You know, right? I married you because of the baby. Someone like you should have been dumped, but I'm kind enough to provide for you. You should respect me more and be more devoted. You're not grateful enough. Ah, so I'm like a protection cat or dog. No, those pets probably receive more care. Thinking this, I felt utterly miserable. The kindness he showed while we were dating was all a lie. Maybe Noah might change once our child was born. And this faint hope kept me from pursuing a divorce. As we approached 9 months, Noah and I were invited to his cousin's wedding. Since I was feeling better and it was happening at a nearby hotel, we decided to attend. I was excited to be part of such a glamorous event after so long. As the ceremony began, I was utterly captivated by the bride's radiant beauty standing next to the groom. She looks wonderful. I wish to wear a dress like that someday. Then, Noah snickered beside me. Better not. It'll just make your ugly face stand out more. He whispered, just quietly enough that his parents at our table couldn't hear. You don't need to say things like that. Lose about 44 pounds, get plastic surgery, and looks age 20 years become younger, then I'll let you wear one. Listening to the wedding march, I bit my lip and looked down. Why do I have to be subjected to this? Unaware of my sinking mood, the ceremony proceeded smoothly. After the toast, it was time for the bride and groom to change outfits. The atmosphere in the venue remained cheerful, with conversations starting at each table. Soon, Noah's aunt and uncle came to our table to greet us. We stood up to welcome them and exchanged congratulatory words. After they moved to the next table, I sat down following my in-laws. The moment I did, I felt something cold splash on my face. Noah had doused me with beer. I was so shocked, I couldn't speak, and Noah berated me. Isn't it common sense for a wife to stand by patiently? Hey, Noah! Stand by until we've visited all the tables. Don't you know even that much? That's why you are a high school grad? Noah, what are you saying? It's okay, Ava. Sit down. I'm sorry about this. He seems to be misunderstanding. His mother said hurriedly, pulling out a lace handkerchief to wipe my face. As I absent-mindedly watched droplets fall from my bangs, a surge of intense anger rose within me. I couldn't take it anymore. Whether he's the father of my child or not, I don't care. I'll tear apart his wastefully high pride in front of the relatives. There was someone who had been silently watching Noah berate me. She had been sitting at the bride's friend's table and ran over to us the moment Noah sat down. I knew it. You're the guy who hit on us at the hotel bar the other day. Scarlett, what's going on? Oh, right. The guy who hit on us even though he's wearing a wedding ring. Noah turned pale at Scarlett's accusation. Her friend spoke up loud enough for other tables to hear. What was it again? If you were my girlfriend, you could live in luxury. I'd buy you a condo or whatever you want, right? I provide for my wife. Whether I cheat or spend a fortune on other women, she has no right to complain. That's what he boasted. Poor wife, wait, that's my sister? Scarlett's sister is that pickup artist's wife? Why is Scarlett here? Oh, she's a friend of the bride. Scarlett, who had brought her friends from the same table, feigned surprise upon seeing my face. It was all an act, but since it shocked Noah, it was going according to plan. My in-laws looked back and forth between Scarlett, her friends, and Noah, puzzled. You hit on another woman even though you're married? Don't be ridiculous, Dad. Don't trust these girls' nonsense seriously. Noah said, sweating profusely and making excuses. Hold on, you're saying my sister and her friends are lying? I confronted Noah. If you think it's a lie, why don't we check the date and time? It should match perfectly with when you were away on a business trip. The date and time mentioned by Scarlett and her friends made Noah's face contort. It was indeed when he was away from home on a business trip. This guy's incredibly stingy, without giving me living expenses, even though he's a high earner at a big company. Despite being a father, he has been thinking about playing around. Even if he's handsome, it's a turn-off. Scarlett's friends chuckled, and Noah turned red and looked down. My in-laws looked at Noah with disgust. You're the head of the family, and this is what you do? Don't embarrass us, please. No, Mom, it's not like that. Ava, do something. What do you expect me to do? My sister and her friends are just stating facts. I coldly pushed him away, and Noah got furious. If it's the truth, then show me proof. Did you record my words? You didn't, did you? With that, Scarlett and her friends fell silent. After they quietly returned to their table, Noah glared at me. You planned this with your sister to embarrass me, didn't you? That woman being at the hotel on my business trip was all set up from the start, wasn't it? How could I? I didn't even know which hotel you'd be staying at. Knowing how cunning you are, you probably looked it up. Well, whatever. You better brace up. As the newlyweds made their re-entrance after changing outfits, I ignored Noah's words and focused on the stage. Next, it was time for the bride and groom to go around visiting the guests' tables, a tradition known as the table round. They were supposed to perform a candle service, lighting candles. Suddenly, I noticed Noah, who had been furious moments ago, smirking at the bride. The bride, on the other hand, turned her face away from Noah unnaturally. As they were leaving, Noah, for some reason, moved his glass of beer closer to the bride and accidentally spilled it on her dress. Sorry, my hand slipped. Hey, Noah. This is a rental, what a mess. The bride lamented, and Noah quickly offered. Sorry. It's better to clean it off quickly, right? How about this, I'll accompany you to the washroom, and Daniel can go around the tables alone. What? No, it's weird to split up during the ceremony. I'll take her. Don't be shy, just go. It'll be bad if we don't finish on time, right? But next to a hesitating Daniel, the bride wore a troubled expression. That's when I decided to give a hand. Daniel, was it? You shouldn't leave them alone. Noah was hitting on the bride just a while ago. I saw it. Daniel was dumbfounded. What? You're kidding. Ava. Don't meddle. No, don't say weird stuff. Noah shouted in a panic. What's this all about? Do you want to throw a wrench in a happy mood? I don't like it either. But Noah's the one who caused this, right? I looked up at the bride and said firmly. It's better to speak up early in situations like this. You shouldn't endure it. The bride seemed hesitant, but my words seemed to give her the push she needed. She looked at Daniel determinedly and spoke up. Daniel. What Ava said is true. Noah hit on me when I went to the restroom earlier. The bride's sour face spoke to Daniel, who was at a loss for words. You and Noah have been friends since childhood, right? I kept quiet because I thought it would ruin your friendship if I told you. But why should I be the one to endure this? The bride glared at Noah and spoke harshly. I remember every word. I'll tell you everything. Hey, stop! Despite Noah's attempt to interrupt, the bride began to speak loudly, her voice echoing through the venue. He said, I'm smarter and work at a better company. You'd be better off as my woman. Anyway, contact me when you get back from your honeymoon. With what happened with Ava's sister and her friend, he's really inconsistent. Noah covered his mouth with his hand, looking bewildered and switching his gaze between the angry faces of the bride and Daniel. Daniel, you don't believe this woman, right? We're best friends, aren't we? Remember all the times we played together as kids? Noah babbled quickly, to which Daniel coldly retorted. Of course, I trust her. Hey! I knew about your bad habits with women, but hitting on the bride is crazy. Even if I'm just average, I'm more decent as a person than you are. Daniel's anguished voice stirred the venue. Why haven't the bride and groom come to our table yet? They're stuck at Noah's table. Apparently, Noah was hitting on the bride, and the groom was furious. What? Of course, they'd be mad. What was he thinking? The relatives, now aware of the situation, began to criticize one after another. Noah may be handsome and the most successful in the family, but he's always been arrogant. Still acting like that past 40? He never grew up. No matter how smart he is, that's the lowest you can go as a person. He's a disgrace to the family. Noah's neck turned red as the criticisms piled on. Such a worthless cousin. Daniel, maybe you should cut ties with him? Ouch. Even that old man isn't as cool as Daniel. Shut up! Noah stood up and shouted, his voice echoing through the venue. I was just teasing the bride a bit. And you take it seriously. Daniel, I tried to hit on her to test if she was the flighty type, thinking you'd suffer with such a woman. Good thing she's not the type to fall for any guy that easy. You should be thanking me. Yeah, right. Noah exploded with anger at Daniel, who smirked. I went to the trouble of attending this wedding and then it was a waste of time. Dad, Mom, Ava, we're leaving. Feel free to leave. I told him, causing Noah to look taken aback. I stared straight at Noah and declared firmly. I'm not going back to that house. I won't live with you anymore. I really wanted to thrust the divorce registration in his face right then, but it would be too rude at a wedding, so I planned to send them to Noah later. I don't want to see your face. Just go back quickly. Staying longer would only bother everyone else. After I sharply told him off, Noah looked stunned for a moment before unleashing his anger. It must have been unbearable for him, always expecting submission from me, to face my defiance. You're taking a father away from his child. Me, an excellent father. A low-level mother like you couldn't possibly raise a child properly. Fine, leave if you want, but the child stays with me. I won't hand over this child to you. Then I'll hire a lawyer and fight for custody. With my excellence, I'm sure to win. How could a father with such terrible habits with women be advantageous? His lack of common sense is astounding. Then, after being silent for a while, Scarlett stepped forward and handed Noah her business card. "This is what I do. If you like, I can introduce you to someone I know." "What?" Noah was shocked when he looked at the business card Scarlett handed him. "Head of Columbus Law Firm, the major one downtown? Did you know that?" "As expected of my knowledgeable brother-in-law," Scarlett said with a smile. "I had no idea your sister was a lawyer. Why didn't you tell me?" Noah snapped, to which I responded with a thin smile. "Oh, did you want to be told? I thought it would be rude to hurt your unnecessarily high pride." Then Scarlett chimed in. "Exactly, it seems like my brother-in-law is misunderstanding something, so let me correct you. Ava may have only finished high school, but that's because she prioritized recovering from an illness over continuing her study abroad. She had been accepted to O University in England, such a waste, right?" "What?" "We didn't boast about it because it's not something to brag about. Our eldest brother and youngest brother graduated from K University in England, and Scarlett graduated from H University in the USA. We're quite international, aren't we?" Noah stared at me as if he were looking at an alien. "That's a lie. That can't be true. Ava can never answer a single question on quiz shows." "That's because if I said I knew, it would hurt your pride. Believing you're smarter and belittling me daily seems to be your purpose in life." I looked at Noah with pity. "I know the answers to all those questions. Maybe next time I should tell you the answers before they're revealed." Noah gaped like a fish, to which I delivered the final blow. "I just hope our child doesn't turn out to be as foolish as you." Surrounded by icy glares from me, Scarlett, the newlyweds, and both our relatives, Noah must have felt unbearable. He twisted his face in frustration and fled the scene. My in-laws, who had been shrinking in their seats the whole time, hurriedly followed him. A wave of laughter erupted from the attendees as Noah and my in-laws left. After they left, the wedding was called off. Daniel and the bride decided, after a discussion, to redo the reception later with only friends invited. Since we ruined such an important occasion, Scarlett and I profusely apologized to Daniel and the bride, but Daniel forgave us graciously. "It's partly my fault for inviting Noah. I'll make sure he pays a proper settlement, so don't worry about it." As I had declared to Noah, I moved in with Scarlett following the wedding. I was planning to stay in a hotel until I found a new place to live, but Scarlett invited me over to her house. After arranging for the movers and sending the settlement documents and divorce registration to Noah, he called the next day. "Why should I have to pay alimony? I was just disciplining my wife. You're the one who's gonna have the kid and raise it, right? I won't pay child support." Over the phone, Noah raged, but I pulled the phone away from my ear and calmly told him. "Oh, is that so? Then you're okay with going to court? It'll cost you extra money, you know." I'll give you the condo, so just give me half its value in return. Alimony and the appraisal value should be paid in one lump sum. If you ignore it, I'll sue you, so take care." "Ava, please, give me a break, especially the alimony. I have to pay Daniel too, and if I pay both, I'll have no savings left," Noah said in a pathetic voice, to which I responded, exasperated. "After making me save so much, you should have plenty of savings. It's strange that alimony would wipe them out." "That's because..." "Did you spend the savings on other women?" Noah fell silent. It seemed I had hit the nail on the head. I wasn't even angry. I had anticipated this and set the alimony high on purpose. Eventually, Noah gave in and transferred the alimony to my account. Later, I heard from Daniel that one of the wedding attendees was an employee at Noah's company and had spread the story of how Noah ruined the wedding. Noah lost his boss's trust, was transferred to a sidelined, and had his salary significantly cut. Although Noah was competent at his job and quite popular among the female staff, as soon as he fell from the fast track, no one paid him any attention. Completely losing his confidence, Noah aged rapidly. The once handsome appearance vanished, replaced by a disheveled look with gray hair and wrinkled suits. When he occasionally spoke to female employees, they all screamed and ran away. I gave birth to a healthy boy and, with Scarlett's help and without returning to my parents' home due to the distance, raised him. I moved to a condo bought with the alimony, placed my son in daycare when a spot opened, and worked at Scarlett's law firm. So far, child support has been deposited into my account every month. Threatening to seize his salary if he defaults on child support seems to have worked. Scarlett dotes on my son far more than Noah ever could. Without a father, I plan to pour twice as much love into raising him with all my care.